Welcome to our lovely future humans, our 5D collective. To those who do know, you can't fake it. You can't fake a ventral pivot. And guess who fakes it? Yes, there's a number of those who want to let us know that they're doing purpose-driven leadership work. They will also talk about being regulated leaders. Some will point a finger at me and say I'm a bypasser, and those who aren't seeing me, I'm pointing. Okay, so you can't fake a ventral pivot, and that's the number one thing I know that those who continue to come back here at IHP understand. And that's because I do purpose-driven leadership work myself. With the PayHip store, you have plenty of practices to bring forth that which is your stability, maturity, adaptability, rationality, wait for it, and teachability. And so when you're being yourself the smart way, you do enjoy personal growth and spiritual growth. And while I was going to rant a little bit about I'm tired of fake regulated leaders, I'm going to talk to you about it, and we're going to have some fun. And first we're going to start with an example of the can't faking it. So it's not the words that a person will use that will enable you to understand if they're a real leader, or at the very bare minimum, a purpose-driven leader who is love-based. It is how they will embody treating every person on the face of this planet, whether they're mystic, spiritual, or mindful. And so we're not too spiritual or too mindful ever. That's too much. Okay, so you are regulating intensity and sensitivity consistently, because the only reason you're going to be in your survival mode, modulated embodiment mode, is if there's a physical threat, or you've been activated and you know what activates you. So like I have plenty of ways that my own child stuff can come up. Okay, so here's first example, then we're going to get to some stories and also some cards. And as for the ones who call us monsters because they think that we can't bring all the spiritual stories together, well, it is what it is. I mean, tomato, tomato. I know who is betraying, humiliating, doing injustices. They're also actively abandoning, and there's another one. What was it? Humiliate, injustice, abandon, betray, reject. Yes, they're rejecting the truth, the objective truth of that which is science that proves God's perfection in every one of his children. And it doesn't have to be a he, it can be Akash, source. Everyone is a piece of it after all. And so when you are love, it's because you are able to be a person who wields your own window of tolerance to one of welcome. And the ones who refuse to understand how the embodied brain works, and that an individual who will have had a frightening upbringing will have fragmented states of self, can be healed. No, not by holding them down, and no, not by demonizing them or dehumanizing them. Okay, so my hand goes on my heart because I say, I forgive like Jesus taught me. I know exactly how to respect my elders and my ancestors, and how to know there's not really a conspiracy. There's this thing called ignorance. And then there's this thing called small-minded people who, when they reject me, they don't humiliate me by pointing a finger and calling me a name or a hypocrite. Because my facade friend and I, he's a man who I call a clown. And he's the first of many that I have gotten to unconditionally love just the way they are. And when I said, you're a hypocrite to my facade friend, he's not a purpose-driven leader, by the way. He's a person who's an employee. Yes, employee. He works for someone. He has a brilliant mind. He gave up on himself. You want to hear that story? Wait for it. Hold on. Let me tell you the other story first. So here's what a ventral pivot looks like. Number one, if you want, tune into yesterday's episode. We talk about grace, a man, a woman, a person of grace. That's what you have in front of you. And embodying grace means that you embody compassion the way Dr. Daniel Siegel embodies it, or Pat Ogden, or Peter Levine, scientists. It's called humility. And therefore, you know how to be on the floor, and then to know that there's no monster or demon inside of anyone. And that when we do see pathological human beings in leadership positions, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys have things to do. And as for Wendy, we also understand who Wendy is. Luckily, because leaders, like actual ones, are bountiful, I think I'm the only one who knows how to discern my own effective realism. Pretty sure if you're going to stick around, you know how to discern your own emotional stuff too. So it's like, okay, we all know what's going on Internet didn't make it worse. No, that's why, thanks to internet, we're connecting right now. If I didn't have internet, I wouldn't be able to connect to all the purpose-driven leaders and individuals that I support with the mindset practices and the guides on PayHip. Check them out, and we're going to have some new stuff added soon. So in the meantime, FYI, as I've shared with you before, functional inner child adults is what we are, and we get to find solutions because we love to talk and walk together in life as our true, authentic, higher selves, anchored in ventral energy, with emotions and thoughts that mature, expand, and continue, hold on for it, consciously continue to contribute to our evolving human and consciousness herd. So our human species evolves. We can't shame people into evolution. And as for the hypocrite, purpose-driven leaders like my facade friend, he called me a hypocrite because I say this and that are true. That's an indication that he only uses his left mode. No, he uses both, but it's structural dissociation, cognitive dissonance. It's also called distorting based on one's own beliefs and biases and opinions and da-da-da-da-da. So it's called subjective reality in my facade friend's case, and my case too. We're all subjective reality. But here's where the discerning, when you do true leadership, that's why you don't make a call, you don't make a decision based on distortion, or do you? Well, you know, Michael Stone, he's a forensic criminologist scale, and he has a scale for forensic criminologist, he makes a scale of evil. And all of these people, from beginning to the end, need one thing that our world is bountiful of: mindful therapists. Now, the funny thing, it's funny because I actually can spot them all. The hypocrites, the ones who are faking it. I'm so sorry if this is confusing. I'm sure it's not. I'm just making fun right now. So every word you utter, every action you take, your very existence, is it for everyone's well-being, or is it just about you? I don't know, Sadhguru. Let me think. Is the podcast just for Maria? No, not at all. It's actually for people who enjoy purpose-driven leaders who know what they're talking about, and that's because you're a smart consumer. So professionals, I'm one. So are you potentially, and then there's people who also have different types of jobs. So when I do meet the ones who are faking it, the regulated leadership, they just use a bunch of words like I do, but they don't embody any of the ventral pivoting stuff because they don't know how to forgive. The reaction is, oh, I forgive, and that's where I began a long, long time ago with lovely, good Christian Catholic catechists, and I never looked back and thought, I'm such a fool because I believed that my teenage boyfriend loved me. Now I know he didn't. No, he did. He did love me. So people who allow their past experiences, relationships, to paint a picture of men and women, that's a whole side note. So for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for in sickness and in health, and till death do us part. My communion, number one, thank you, God, the Father and Son, Holy, for keeping me far away from people that I would have been so ashamed of Maria right now. So once you get all attachment trauma informed and brain science informed, you're very aware of what it means for people to have split thinking and core wounds. It's not funny. And when they have been frightened since the day they were born, so they are actually not evil in the sense of a monster, they are afraid of love because they actually are fearful of it. You know how they say words describe how every word that you speak will tell me something about you. I use words wrong because I don't like the sound of some words, and then I make up definitions in my head. And people who say you need to learn to speak correctly, I say that's not who I am. I'm sorry. I'm okay with people thinking I'm dumb, because I really don't have time to waste on trying to regurgitate information and memorize, by the way, and that's really just not how my brain works, so I don't want to. Okay, so it's not high on my list. My list is I know how to ventral pivot. So as I'm engaging with a lovely connection, and they are part of my oversoul. In fact, you can thank them from the mystic spiritual story of Maria, as without them I would not have anchored in on planet Earth. In fact, I'm on planet Earth anchored with them until the future. We leave together in the future. It's one of my most amazing astral travels. Is I'm from the future, one, and then I also saw the future. The human being knows about the future. Okay, so and I have called him before Rainbow Baby Child, if I remember correctly, or Rainbow something. But indigo, definitely an indigo rainbow. And so, with that being said, the sad news is I don't really think I made a big difference in the life of the human being, because making a difference to me as a purpose-driven professional is to help, to support you to live a fulfilling life. Do you know how to live a fulfilling life? And I am asking genuinely, because if you're attachment trauma, at least foundationally educated, you're going to have the immediate answer. If you're not, I'm going to give you 3 words that make up one. Nervous system sovereign means you know how to ventral pivot. The ones who believe it's not true, don't stay here, because I'm not the proving it. The scientists are, and I take 5 and growing more years of study. Because, see, I don't do anything half-assed. And when I said I'm going to help people when I grow up, I meant it. And I do personal growth and spiritual growth, and so I mentor those who are meaning they want to live a fulfilling life. And self-help is not therapy. Therapy is what people go to first. Now that they have their window of tolerance, they say, yes, I want window of welcome, empowerment, and enlightenment. The ones who want to come together with their pain points and say we're bypassing, they can have fun. That's why they're hypocrites. And like my facade friend, as he's calling me a hypocrite, I'm like, I'm not a hypocrite, but wait, it's true. I do say this and that are true. And today I can tell you the reason is because a consilience approach is not something off-putting to those who are mentally, because we're emotionally intelligent, and is not a emotional intelligence simply requires for a person to stay open-hearted. And therefore, those core wounds, we don't have them. Because rejection doesn't make our heart break to the point of where we're going to project. Humiliation, when someone rejects and then tries to humiliate you, you think, wow, those are really bad manners. Abandonment, where you're not anyone that I need to consider abandon me. The only one who could abandon me is my primary caregiver. She didn't. In fact, actually now she can't get rid of me. And what was it? Betrayal. Oh, the cowards I met when I was a teenager, they all are beautiful. I mean, the teenage boyfriend is number 1 on the list, but so are all the other people. And injustice. Yes. So injustice, I and God talk all the time. Also, I saw cosmic karmic balancing. So there is no injustice. Actively, you don't have to sacrifice anything unless you believe that you have to suffer in life. Which, by the way, 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, there's those hypocrites, which is why they go and join each other, and they, like the flat earthers, have fun pretending to teach each other how to fish. They're doing it wrong. The personal growth stuff and the spiritual growth. I'm so sorry, where are my manners? Thank you, God. Subjective reality, that's terry real. God just mentioned free will. And then Robert Sapolsky mentions Determined, his book. So with that, the Ventral Pivot, my lovely connection and I, not my facade friend, we're putting him to the side, are having a nice interaction, and they make an invite. And the invite was a nice invite. And I said yes, but only as friends. And that's actually a saying that is very common. There's nothing off. And I am from smiling and laughing to being basically, imagine a dog barking. It's not a dog. And luckily, it's just a reaction, and that's called split thinking, black and white thinking, and a core wound, which involves rejection. That is not a person who's evil or mean or a monster. No, it's actually offline, biologically rude person. As Stephen Porges would point out, it's a red. That means they're completely unaware that this is from their own childhood. I, on the other hand, am aware that it's from their childhood because I know their childhood. So I wasn't upset. I was actually able to, in a moment's time, as they spoke words to me, what happened is a number of explicit memories from my recent past and that moment. A bunch of sadness came up, which, by the way, because we co-regulate, for all I know, besides what was of Maria, it was also the other person's nervous system. We're not afraid of somatic countertransference. Emotions aren't contagious. Nervous systems co-regulate. So my mui wasn't being fucked with. That's Dr. Daniel Siegel's mui. The Terry would call it a biosphere. So I am able to protect, connect, because I'm present, attuning, resonating, trusting, because there's no physical threat. Now that's purpose-driven leadership for you when it comes to personal growth, spiritual growth, because you know how to pivot to your ventral, because that's why your nervous system sovereign, which is where the 5D collective is at. As for the 3D, 4D, while they continue with their pain points, I think of you haven't reached your high bar yet. Now, I understand that you might not be, I'm not the therapist, and if you haven't, not you, but the minute a person will not have done all of that, which is where Pat Ogden talks about it, Peter Levine talks about it, mindful therapists are all over the place. You see what I'm saying? So not only do spiritual masters and gurus know not to actually say, you're done, you're never going to get there, but also scientists who objectively understand the flow state. It's amazing. The flow state of our brain with metastability, it pushes us to the edge of criticality. This is what you're seeing in front of you. It's like, where's the criticality? I haven't seen it yet. My thoughts rise like an eagle. So do my emotions, intensity, sensitivity, you name it. I'm having a fun time. People who don't like to see it is like, you had it lucky. My environment, actually I have relational integrity because I have a twin and I had playtime, and I have a mom who taught me about what it means to be different. And when I got to become a teenager and I saw what teenagers did, I said, I'm not going to copy mediocre, epistemically lazy jackasses who are cowards, who continue to not notice that they're lying. Why are you faking it? So my facade friend, back to him. The ventral pivot, I showed you, we self-regulate, it's automatic, and then you're able to continue conversing. As for the stuff that came up, it didn't go back down. It got released over time because my body wants to stay healthy and my mind knows that it's good to cry, because that's how it works. And so, how many days does it take you to work through something? If you're just doing personal growth, you're going to know it. I mean, for me, it's like between 3 to 7 days. It all depends what's going on. Anger is released healthily, and that's through very good conversations with empowered men and women, because they're the ones who are the best. So they don't judge people who are actually not able to move to that high bar. They can, again, I believe in the power of people being their true self once they've gotten a hold of it, obviously. Implicit memory, those first 3 years of life. So a functional inner child adult will find a solution to all of that which is misalignments, because we are not going to disengage from being friends with the 3D, 4D who suffer life, who have unsteady self-image, as emotionally immature people did not choose to be drama kings, queens, or addicted to anxiety. They actively are simply making the conscious choice of making fun of mindful therapists, saying they don't need them, looking at me in the face and thinking that I'm a hypocrite. And as my facade friend points it out, I'm like, oh, well, this and that are true for enlightenment, so age your people. Now I know how to say it's for integrated brains. So integrated brain is able to be flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, because we also maintain our adolescent essence, the essential spark, social engagement, novelty, creative expression. The acronyms from Dr. Danny Siegel, amazing. And so when you are doing this, welcome aboard. Purpose-driven leader, professional, what are you doing? Mystic, spiritual, hold on, I'm going to talk to you about the oversoul. Head on over to PayHip. You're going to have fun with the free PDF, that 10-minute. Then you're going to have fun with the other one that I'm about to add too. And so you're going to have fun being yourself, by the way, because what's really annoying is having people fake it. So I will use the word performance for some of the content, but remind yourself it means that you're able to actually, like, the true kind of high performance, because the mind is clear as you discern, and the emotional plane is clear because you know when you get activated. It doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes. We all can be reactive. My 3-year-old, she still comes up. But we learn every time how to say, I'm so sorry, my bad. I'm going to do better next time, because I actually do enjoy the ventral pivot. I'm not overdoing it. Someone used the word once. I was like, you really can't actually try to overdo your ventral vagal state, but you can allow yourself to embody that which is grace, to embody the peace of consciousness we all are. When people say divinity, what they really mean is that you're embodying the essence of you. So scientists talk about it as the restored embodiment. And that's why a purpose-driven, I'm going to help people, they will know how to ventral pivot. Otherwise, they're faking it, but the ones who are faking it with them are Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, who go on adventures with Wendy. So in the meantime, while they distort, project, and create a number of situations, and we get to put out the fires, that's correct, in many different ways. There's 8 billion people. There's a number of highly emotionally intelligent and mentally intelligent human beings who know what strategy is. Because they know what strategy is, they also know exactly where to go to look to bring those brilliant minds together. And so every word that we utter, every action we take, our very existence, it is for everyone's well-being, not just for ourselves. That's why the people who do the Ventral Pivot understand why Jesus was able to walk and talk, and he taught us how to turn the other cheek and to forgive. And that's because blessed also are those who believe without seeing, and how the kingdom of God is within every one of us. And the scientists have proven it. That not everyone wants to go and get themselves online, that's a whole different story, but we can't make someone believe in science. So why am I irritated with the purpose-driven leaders who are faking the regulated stuff? Because when they want to talk about other humans, and they do it with their activated charges and their core wounds, they're creating more core wounds. And actually, they're doing every one of us a disservice. And they're also liars, because they're not teaching someone to fish. They're all pretending to fish together. And even if they're catching fish, they're catching distress. The fish that they have is not good for them, because their body can use stress, because they can learn how to work with their window of tolerance. They can discern their activated states. They can all be purpose-driven together and still sing kumbaya, but come from a place that is of their emotional, mental, and physical health. But there's a Zen master out there who tells us that enlightenment is not real because you can't maintain the frequency because there's laundry. That Zen master should not use the title Zen master. Maria's objective reality, he's not Zen. And in fact, the title he has is bullshit. As for me, when someone will say you're bypassing your anger, your sadness, your crying, your fear, no, I don't bypass shit. I just don't shove it under the rug, nor do I think I need a Medal of Honor for knowing how to ventral pivot, to self-regulate. And so this medal that these people who have been giving themselves all this stuff as they learn information, it's where you have the superheroes, supervillains. So I'm a different type of storyteller. You know who I know as a superhero? The 0-1-year-old, the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 6-year-old, the 7-year-old, 8-year-old, the 9, the 10, the 11, the 12, the 13, the 14, 15, 16, all the way up to here. But if you don't take care to bring all of you from your 0 to 8, the codependent one out there, then I'm not going to see the hero that they were. I'm going to have to put up with the 16-year-old version of them, like my facade friend, and as I deal with clowns all day long, get to come here and let you know. Fun fact, hypocrisy is for those who are inconsistently navigating life, because the lack of consistency shows me where their weaknesses are, and all of that which is their lack of sense of safety and security. And in fact, my facade friend, as I look in his eyes, and I say to him, all I asked you, no, I didn't do it this way, but my facade friend, he has an Achilles heel. And so do a lot more of people. And he doesn't think I know what I'm talking about. He thinks I just make a big deal. Instead, when I saw him giving up on himself, this was a while back, this is called the choice point. Okay, so purpose-driven leadership, to me, the real ones are the ones who do the ventral pivot, and they're love-based, and they're going to create leaders out of every one of you. I support you to be a leader too, but my point is for those who are mindful therapists, the ones who can ventral pivot, they are the most amazing. They're going to make a leader out of you, and then you're going to choose if you want to be an actual regulated leader and a badass with 2 cojones like this, and to continue that which Jesus taught us and all of our spiritual ancestors, and then to disregard the unfortunate business of those who tell us that we're rejected because God doesn't need science, and because allowing ourselves to be spiritual mystic apparently brings bad jojo and juju in. So when someone gives you a story of a monster and a devil and a demon, before even knowing attachment trauma, I said, hey God, I'm 20. All I met was a bunch of cowards, God. They don't know how to tell the truth. They're all doing this shit. I don't even understand what the fuck is going on. And I was in cursing at the time. And today I curse because, well, why not? I'm a grown up. So when people aren't able to handle that which are differences, but just to have fun in life, and by the way, their beliefs, to put them to the side, because we all have different beliefs. I'm not going to say that the people who say to us that we're mean and evil, the day we have to go there and say, knock, knock, can we take the children off the planet, the ones you say you love, but that you've decided to isolate yourself because we're all bad demons? Are you okay with us taking the kids you love? So to this human being, this 3-year-old, that ain't love. You're imposing your belief. You actively are so stubborn to the point of where you don't realize what year it is. I have to respect it because our society taught us to respect subjective beliefs. And I think that's not love. That's actively distortion. And how dare you know? Like, you actively think God, spirit, or anything within a realm of that which is creator would actually, it's a person who is grounded in reality that is spiritual and mystic will know exactly what I bring forth, which is why we don't care to bring it all in. But you better bet when the Dalai Lama made the call, if they had been committed, the spiritual ones, to that which is their calling, their purpose, well, there ain't no reason for it to be divisive. Except for one, and that is where when people want to talk to me about conspiracies, I say, no, you got ego in a room. I got a bunch of people because that's where they all came from somewhere, and it's called a womb. So I actually have no story for you of villains in the air that are puppeteer masters. Pinocchio, 3 times the fairy godmother came to try and get you to go on the right path. When you understand what perception means from the embodied brain, in case you're new and you don't understand what I'm trying to mention, I'm going to ground myself. So, I'm not the sciences. I fuck it up and forget it, but I have the explanation. When someone is a leader, they don't distort. They objectively are going to be aware. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. I have feelings, you have feelings. When my facade friend called me a hypocrite, I said, no, I'm not, in my head, my left, my ego. And then my right said, wait a minute, let's hear what you got to say. A book, The Left Brain Speaks, The Right Brain Laughs by Ransom Stevens, talks about the embodied brain. I haven't finished it yet, but this one can become a delusional idiot. And this one can be a judgmental asshole. This one is a fascinated child, and for me, this one's not my indulging parent. It's just Maria's higher self. Okay, so when you have an integrated brain, this is what it means to be a leader from love, and we don't come together because of pain. We come together because of love. That's 5D collective. It's all about love. The pain stuff is actively a sad story because once you are putting pain on a pedestal, thinking that it's pain that has had you rise, no, your brain is an anticipator machine. That's the survival of you on this physical planet. The mind will recognize patterns. Your default mode network will have a pattern of yourself. So there's an explanation to you, and don't call yourself an object, please. I know there's a bunch of people who like to say we've been programmed. The one thing shame consistently does is objectify the journey versus we're not programmed. We're people. We have an embodied brain. It has a way it works. You learn it well enough. You know how to explain it. People don't have to believe it. So when you're bilaterally, vertically overall integrated and you know how to wield your ventral, you ain't going to be confused of what projection looks like and feels like, of what distortion is, and of what biases are. And you're not going to say, I invite you to get rid of your biases, because that ain't shit. I'm going to just leave it alone because go and hang out with the flat earthers, please. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes people will learn all these things and then they will bring to each other technicalities, which it's if a person is bringing to you what it is that they're thinking, you correcting them, and actually, you know what, this is what martyrs, blamers, superiors, codependent people. There's a energy. I know it because as a teenager, okay, I wasn't a martyr superior. I don't think so, but I was the one like, let me tell you what to do. Let me tell you what to do. I'm going to tell and people were like, stop telling us what to do. You don't do what we tell you to do. And I was like, oh, you're so right. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much, because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I said, you're a hypocrite, Maria. It's true. You tell them what to do. They don't tell you what to do. No, they tell you, but you don't listen. So when you're consistent and you understand what it means to be yourself, it's you differentiate and link. and then others can do them. So you don't tell somebody else what they have to do. And when someone's using technical verbiage to tell someone what to do, it's like, okay, you know what? That's, how about you do you and I do me? But let me put that to the side. And as I was trying to get to another story with my facade friend, but I think it slipped my brain. He and his Achilles heel, yeah, I lost it. But definitely as a person, when he finished his choice points, that one actually is important to bring back to you all. And I have an explanation for it. The dark sides of neuroplasticity. The shame cycle continues. And so all of you lives through you, but if you are using maladaptive patterns of behavior, you're going to use the emotionally immature mannerisms that you used as a child, which is nothing to shame. This is why someone saying to me, I'm doing my shadow work, I don't need to hear the shadow work. Calling yourself a program, you ain't a program. Like, just allow yourself to continue integrating and work with that which is the stuff. But I'm also aware that that's a preference. So right here, I'm the one who has an issue when I'm hearing certain things, although it's not always, because this is where the ventral pivot, you can't fake it. And so if I'm in a survival mode, I will begin to notice it. If I'm in a defense mode, because I'm in a modulate embodiment, when I'm defending my position, that's how you do the pivot, because you're aware, you're accountable, and you're regulating. And you're not doing it for some medal of honor. You're doing it because you enjoy embodying the restorative embodiment, because that's where you're simply in grace, in that ease. You don't need to do yoga for it. You actually need to have ownership, owner, observe, witness, narrate of your embodied brain. So nervous system sovereign people do this all the time, and they're not afraid of somatic countertransference. But just like I can get all heated about people using technical verbiage and then giving you the martyr, blamer, superior, and the codependent type, they will be irritated by those of us who are talking like this, because they feel threatened, because they are afraid. And I'm going to say, because they don't understand that not all of humans are actually monsters, but they want people to take accountability for the hurting that they've done. And so they don't like when we talk about forgiveness, because they are irate and angry and want justice. And that's the moment of truth, when people are playing God and they're playing, we know, your unhealthy, self-righteous collective. And even if they think they're healthy, it's based on their perception, their belief, and their subjective reality, which is why they're not leadership material. They're distorting it based on what they believe to be right or wrong, which is where a person who is purpose-driven and who's a real leader will spot it, will say, yes, we all have distortion. I can do it too. I'll catch myself. I'll put it to the side. I'll mention it, and then I'll keep moving forward, and I'll be able to take that which is a person who's in their prefrontal and spot them, versus the one who stays in their defense mode, gives me their Hansel and Gretel little crumble of, and I'm going to be listening to them as they continue to speak, because by the third time I'll know who I'm dealing with, a faker or an authentic one. The faker, like my facade friend, doesn't grow up. And when they give up their life, meaning they choose to give up on themselves, it's because dark sides of neuroplasticity, but also because they think I'm making a big deal out of the choices. And they'll say, you know what? It seems like you think you know what the right thing is to do, Maria. And I'll say, yeah, because I know what it means to love. And then in my facade friend's case, he's a brilliant mind. Like, he's amazing. He knows how to do so many things, and it's just sad that he gave up on himself and that he compromised. But everybody gets to choose. So at the end of the day, again, we can all be someone's pet peeve, but you can't fake the ventral pivot. And those who know how to do it don't want to fake it, because it's nice to be able to consistently discern, be yourself, and then know, yeah, we all have biased charges, we all have activated moments, we can work with it, and nobody is going to give up on relational integrity, because we don't need to, because we can autonomously self-regulate, because that's how easy it is to do the ventral pivot, and to recognize that all people are children, and if they know how to handle themselves, then their prefrontal cortex are going to be a functional child adult. They're going to know how to have fun, like I did just in this first half an hour. And if you're new, you've just, this is the first time you've seen me. So Our mystic stories are fun too, but in the meantime, this is where I will leave you. Check out PayHip, check out Substack. If there are questions on words I've used, Substack is a good place to leave those questions. As I'm creating a glossary, I'll add to the glossary the terms that you ask. That way you can have one. It's going to be a master glossary. I think it's called a master glossary. I forget the title I gave it. But in the meantime, those who are hearing me, check out Substack and YouTube if you want to see me. And in the meantime, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for being yourself and allowing us the honor to get to know you. And I am sure that more of our brothers and sisters will join us in the window of welcome, with the window of empowerment, with the window of enlightenment, because all the good mindful therapists are helping anyone to become their authentic self, to become their genuine regulated leader. As for the fakers, they can continue hanging out with each other and making it seem that they're heroes and that there's villains. And if that's their cup of tea, you know, again, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys have fun on the island with Pinocchio and Wendy, and they continue to do what they do best. Then when the day comes, we'll go knocking on all those different groups and say, okay, we're the ones who you all are judging. But in the meantime, since the sun is still the same star that we will have been told, even way back when, without all of this technology, do you want to come off the planet with the people you say you love? You say you love them, but I really think you don't. You just want your beliefs for them to have to believe the right way you say. So the ones you say you love, but you don't, for me, you don't love anyone. The minute that you're telling me that science is evil, it's okay. Wow, technology evil. Wow, that word, you know, there's Michael Stone. He's a forensic criminologist. He has a scale for it. They all need therapy. It's funny though, because the grandiose charming apparently are the ones who are being bowed down to by the same ones who actually get in trouble because of them. They don't have their back and they continue to support each other's bullshit and to talk about evil. Just watch it. In fact, they actually don't believe you can be compassionate. They also believe that they know what it is to be. Yeah, I'm right. So let's leave that alone. Anyways, I'm now teasing, but thank you for stopping by. Be yourself the smart way, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, and teachable. Take that which is the high road and choose the high bar. And as we continue to come back with more, have a good one.